YouTube's not rolling. YouTube is rolling. Facebook rolling. Look at us. Look at us, guys. We actually started them both together. What's up? It's your girl Jetty, Empress Jetty, the Rebel Rouser. Shalom, shalom, shalom. All right, dig it. I'm gonna do the Facebook invites. Boy, YouTube, I'm sorry about your view. This is like one of the last rooms to get attention. It's the office slash guest room, and it it was my dad's. It's the room my dad spent the most time in the house. It was his office, and so I'm a little bit slow getting it like a big transition. Although I did a huge thing and opened up the door, which was a wall for a long time. Um, uh, it's not the fanciest background or whatever. Deal with it. It is what it is. We're not here for that after all. I'm going to do my Facebook invites while I thank you all for joining me here at Black Enlightenment, where we are broadcasting consciousness. You guys, I am happy to make the announcement that the She Nation Temple is a thing. We have it exists in space and time, and I'll be looking to hire ministers. Um, to be able to come and do the work of the temple. The temple will, and some of you guys have talked a little bit about what I plan to do here, but the temple will erect the cabins and provide the fresh start for the foster kids who age out. That's one of the things that will be um, like one of the first initiatives that the ministry will launch, and as well as the foster kids we could take probably 8 foster kids up on that third floor, um, and so those will be the first stateside projects of the temple, as well as you guys may or may not know that I loosely partner at this point with different orphanages in the motherland, and so we'll be prayerfully be able to really create some strong partnerships there based on real work and not just prayerful support and planning, but be able to implement some of the plans. So I'm very excited to say that the She Nation Temple exists. And so my girl, hey Queen, I see you in the room there, YouTube. I'm just gonna do another page, I guess, of these invites. It's so funny. It's like I do 100 invites and like 4 people come, but praise y'all for those 4. I like it. I don't mind. I don't mind when it's just one of you. Heck, who are we kidding? I don't mind when it's just me, like it usually is on YouTube. I'm just leaving these out there so that the people can find them and be blessed. And I guess I'm done. Find them and be blessed. And because, who knows? I don't know how much of this here internet I can take in real life. So I'm trying to get as much content out there for you guys as possible. And find it when you can find it, right? So, all right. So today, guys, y'all be glorified, magnified, and praised. How's everybody doing? I hope you all are good. Um, I want to talk. I actually took some notes today on what I want to talk about because this is important. Um, First, I want to start with a scripture, and you guys will notice I come back to this scripture a lot. Okay, this particular part of Second Baruch I come back to a lot, right? Because it is so rich. We're in the end times, and so we should be really digging into end time focused scriptures because it's going to give us instruction. And okay, that's a little weird with the cameras. I don't know how weird that is when I look up to the YouTube camera, but oh, maybe I should do this. Maybe that'll make it better. Oops. Oh, shoot. Now, I think I just done broke the computer, y'all. Hold on. I didn't break it. I just made the screen all little. I don't know how I even did that. Okay. Let's try it like this. There we go, Facebook. That's a little bit better. So, Um, okay. So we should be looking to end time scriptures and prophecies to give us instruction, right? That should help us to figure out what we're supposed to be doing, because they're not just there to scare the wits out of everybody. Because frankly, if you belong to Yah and you take refuge in Yah, you've nothing to fear, right? Although some terrible stuff is about to happen and some of it might happen to you, you still have nothing to fear, because we know that Yah is working toward a particular end, which is the desire of our hearts. So I don't really care. Yeah, come on in. I don't really care about the process by which Yah does it, because I already know He's going to be true to His promise, which means He's going to do it, right? And so we rejoice in knowing that the end time, thank you, Zaki, is how it's getting done, right? How we're going to get back to a state that we were intended to be in. I'm cold. Oh, it's because my little heater's off. So second Baruch is end times, end times, end times, right? So we know that second Baruch is talking about this time because of the descriptions. I'm not going to get into that today. There's a teaching on it if you would like to. It's on probably on Facebook. I don't know if it's on YouTube. Where we specifically compare the time described in these books of second Baruch to what today looks like. We do a compare and contrast, and clearly they're talking about today. Okay, and so what we're going to talk about today is how demons use the tactic of partnership to undermine your purpose, right? And so, but before we do that, let's read this scripture, right? Let's get context for what the heck is going on. First of all, I'm going to read a few of the attributes of the time, and we can say to ourselves, is this that kind of time? Okay. And it will come to pass in those days. This is chapter 48, and I'm starting on verse 33 of second Baruch. And it will come to pass in those days that all the inhabitants of the earth will be moved one against one another, because they do not know that my judgment has drawn near. For there will not be found many wise at that time, and the intelligent will be but a few. Moreover, even those who know will most of all be silent. And there will be many rumors and tidings, not just a few, and the actions and deeds of spirits will be manifest, and many promises will be recounted. Some will prove idle, and some of them will be confirmed, and honor will be turned into shame, and strength will be humiliated into contempt, and decency will be destroyed, and beauty will become ugliness. And many will say to many at that time, where has the multitude of intelligence hidden itself? And to what place has the multitude of wisdom removed itself? And while they are thinking on these things, envy will arise in those who had not thought highly of themselves. And passion will seize him that is peaceful. And many will be stirred up in anger to injure many. And they will rouse up armies in order to shed blood. And in the end, they will perish together with them. Did y'all hear that? I'm just going to back it on up a line. And while they are thinking on these things, envy will arise in those who had not thought highly of themselves. And passion will seize him that is peaceful. And many will be stirred up in anger to injure many, and they will rouse up armies in order to shed blood. And in the end, they will perish together with them. And it will come to pass at the same time that a change of times will manifestly appear to every man, because in all those times they polluted themselves, and they practiced oppression, and they walked every man in his own works, and remembered not the law of the Mighty One. Therefore, a fire will consume their thoughts, and in flame will the control of their thoughts be tested. For the judge will come and will not tarry. Hallelujah. Because, listen to why the judge will come and will not tarry. Because each of the inhabitants of the earth knew when he was transgressing. but because of their pride, they did not know my law. Okay, that's verse 40. That's where we're gonna end our reading, right? So that those few verses clearly describe the time, right? And the time is described through the state of the people. And the state of the people is that these people know, first of all, that this is the end time. They know that they're being wicked. They know that they're being wicked. But because they think they don't want to think enough of themselves to change their standard of behavior, they become envious of the people who are willing to do the internal work and change and raise the standard of behavior. So then, because they don't value themselves enough to raise the standard, now they are envious of those who do. And they know. Stop letting people attach themselves to you, and stop attaching yourself to people based on some strange concept that you are going to awaken or enlighten or show them the way. You are not. We are past that place. We are past that place. Are we not? Let's see. Let's read. Are we at this place? Are we at the place where, well, let's see. In the days, all the inhabitants of the earth will be moved one against one another. Well, that's for sure now, today. Everybody's fighting everybody because they do not know that Yah's judgment has drawn near. Yeah, look at what everybody's fighting over. They're all fighting over everything that don't have nothing to do with Yah, right? But that's later for Yah. We got other things we want to fight over, right? Right? And it will come to pass, they're moved against it, for there will not be found many wise at that time, and the intelligent will be but a few. How hard is it to get anybody to actually think? And even those that do engage in a thinking process, still wisdom eludes them, right? It's crazy. And people are saying, where did intelligence go? What happened to wisdom? Since when don't we do the smartest thing, right? Like the World Health Organization not telling anybody to take some ginger, right? Drink a little ginger, guys. There's a germ out there all over the world. Take ginger. No, they're not doing that, right? So you've got the intelligent people that are going, wait, but they want us to do all this, but how come they didn't mention ginger or lime or, right? Okay, so that's this time. Many rumors and tidings. Come on now. We know that this is the time of rumors and tidings, right? The actions and deeds of spirits will be manifest. We know that's happening now. Look at how people are returning back to the spiritual systems that call directly on spirits, and those spirits work their magic, right? In all different religions, that's coming to be true. Even within the holy and righteous, right? The way, Yah's way. Even we are calling on our spirit team and saying, yo, slay them, deal with them, handle that. And they're doing it, right? It's evident that these spirits are involved on both sides of the spectrum, both good and evil, right? So the spirits are involved, absolutely, right? That's what that's talking about. Where were we? Why is it that time? Okay, so the spirits will be manifest. Many promises will be recounted. Some idle and some will be confirmed. Honor turned into shame. We know that honor is shameful nowadays, right? We know it is. Let someone dress modestly and look at how they're mocked, right? So honor will be turned to shame. Strength will be humiliated into contempt. If I hear another person who's crying about how Black women are too strong and it's a shame and we need to not be strong, like what in the what? Right? So strength is humiliated into contempt. Same with men. They don't want strong men. They don't want strong women at all. They want everybody weak, right? Strength is humiliated into contempt. Okay, yep. Decency will be destroyed. I don't even have to, I mean, come on. Just just the concept of sagging and the way women wear their boobs pushed up. Like and I'm not like a hater just because I don't have boobs, right? But it's a spirit that's like the boobs have to be with the face, right? Like it's like insisting.
Excuse me, Mom.
What?
Do you want like a little piece of food that he's making?
What's he making?
An omelet.
I told you he was making food, didn't I?
He only made himself an omelet, but I was asking if you want a piece, if you're still hungry.
I'm not still hungry, but I want a piece of his omelet because he makes good omelets. Just a little teeny taste. Thank you. So it's like, there was like, whatever. We know that decency. I don't want to get too far off in this part because I do want to discuss these ways that people partner, the way demons will assign themselves to you and what that looks like. So we are getting to that. But first, let's make sure, right? Let's make sure I'm not telling no lies and trying to lead nobody away from no good works, right? We're discerning the time, and then that's going to tell us who we're dealing with out here. Okay? So decency is destroyed and beauty will become ugliness. If beauty hasn't become ugliness, I don't know what to say. How about that woman of the year, Superman, the woman of the year? How about these, who's the little cute rapper? Oh my gosh, she was so pretty and precious and did all that mess to her face. She looks crazy now, like that kind of stuff, right? Like Michael Jackson, right? Like he took his beautiful, beautiful face, right? And he's trying to like make his face like the standard of beauty, but like, bruh, you were the standard of beauty before, right? So, okay. All right. So that sounds like today. That sounds like this time, right? And people are saying, where's the multitude of intelligence hidden itself? Into what place has the multitude of wisdom removed itself, right? Seems like everybody except politicians and world leaders can solve world problems, right? Oh, I know, spend less on stupid stuff and bombs and spend more on housing and clean water, distribution. But that's like, you can't say that in places of power. You get killed, right? They send in the army that they spend all that money on, right? Okay, so we know that this is a time like that. This is that time. It's that time. We know what time it is. So what it's telling us is that every man walked in his own works, right? They did not remember the law of the mighty one because they think lowly of themselves and they know that they're transgressing, but because they're prideful, they do not want to be humble enough to be raised up to a new standard. And so because they're too prideful, they become jealous of those who are humble enough to put their head down and learn a new standard and come up. So they know when they're practicing oppression. And they know when they are doing these transgressions. They know. Each inhabitant of the earth knew when he was transgressing. Each of the inhabitants of the earth. That means spirits, dogs, birds, people, you name it, flowers, everything that lives on this earth at this time is aware of their transgressions. They're aware of it. So there's no cluing people in to sin that they might come to repentance. Stop that. That is yet another of the tactics. Because what it's designed to do is to keep you spinning your wheels for deliverance for them that they don't desire. And so you're putting in all this work and being distracted by putting in all this work. And so you never live out your full purpose because you're spinning your wheels with these people that know good and darn well all they're doing is wasting and siphoning your energy. I know this is hard to hear and people are all mad and stuff like that, but you better remember what the Savior said. This is that time that he spoke of when mother would be against daughter and father against son and sister against brother and such, right? made against master and all this stuff. Why? Because the fact is, these treacherous ones know what they're doing. These wicked ones know what they're doing. And it's a time now where either, you're going to allow that to be your standard, or you're going to disengage and engage with people who hold the same high standard. But playing that game of I'm mixed up with people with a low standard because I'm trying to be their light and bring them up, that's not how that works. That's not how that works in this time, because they know they've made a conscious choice every single day. They make the conscious choice not to turn from their wickedness. They know their wickedness. They like it. They do not believe that judgment is coming. And so therefore, they are making a conscious choice to do what will bring judgment, because they do not believe. If you do believe in the Most High Yah, if you do believe that that judgment day is coming, you might want to be wise and not end up caught up with these people. Thank you. Not end up caught up with these people that are going to turn your peacefulness into angry passion and have you over there somewhere fighting and involved with them, when you should be progressing the kingdom and building the kingdom. Everybody is so deceived about what kingdom building looks like. They think kingdom building means going and recruiting everyone into Rome, right? And into this concept of the church. And that is kingdom building, but that's not building Yah kingdom. That's building the kingdom of darkness. Building Yah kingdom means being set apart and to demonstrate in your life a completely different standard and code of conduct than that which the world, in full knowledge of their transgression, lives by. Right? So now when you are that truly set apart person, not set apart t-shirt church banquet, but set apart as in your life is a countercultural example. Your life is an example of what happens when you do not do what the world says, when you do not value what the world values, when you do not believe what the world believes, when you do not ingest what the world ingests, when you do not produce what the world produces, when you are actually set apart, distinct, and peculiar from the world. Let me tell you, there are going to be demons who are going to show up with the sole purpose of partnering with you for various reasons. Okay? So let me help you to avoid those pitfalls, as I'm going to help me to avoid them. Okay? Now, here's one way to avoid pitfall. So one of the partnerships that the enemy will definitely send to undermine you is a romantic partnership, right? The enemy will definitely send someone to partner with you sexually, spiritually, maritally, legally. Like, they will send a boo love from the enemy camp to undermine you if you have great work in you, right? If you have great work in you, you can trust and believe that at least 50% of your suitors are simply there to undermine your greatness. Like, point blank. They see the shine and they must get close to it so that they can put it out. 50% of your suitors are there for that. Know that. These are wicked, 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 wicked times. And I'd hate to say it, but I might even go so far as to say 75% of your suitors. It is a very rare one that shows up into your life, takes a peek at your life, and says, wow, I can really enhance this person's life by being authentic, and they can enhance my life by being authentic. Our authentic selves together could really make one another's situation glow up, right? Most people are not pursuing great ones for the mutual glow up. They're not, okay? Not most people. I didn't say no one is, because I'm a great one and I know what I'm pursuing in a relationship, and it's definitely for that. And so if I am pursuing it, then I know that somewhere there is a counterpart that's pursuing it, because I'm only one side of the coin. So what does the male side of the coin that is me look like? Well, he's out there somewhere. How do I know? Because I exist. So he must exist. And so I wouldn't be so silly as to say that no one is looking for that, right? But it is rare. It's very, very rare. So what, how do you, how do you know, right? How do you know? Well, one big, it's tricky, right? Because there's this is a double-edged sword here. First of all, you know, the Jewish people, right? The mountain people that stole our legacy, they have a saying, right? If you have to ask how much it's worth, you or how much it costs, you can't afford it, right? What does that mean? Okay, so in their context, it's like this. You walk into the shop, nothing has a price tag on it. If it matters whether the thing is $500 or $5,000, you walked in the wrong shop. You only belong in that shop if money's no object. So when money's no object, it doesn't matter the price. What matters is whether or not you want the thing, right? That's a completely different reality, right? Money's no object means I don't put any concern in that. I see the thing, I desire it, the opportunity is there to acquire it, I simply acquire it. Right? If I have to ask, if I have to come into the store and start asking, well, which one is cheaper and which one is this and that, they would say you can't even afford it. If you have that kind of concern, you can't afford it. Now, whether that's undermining to sound financial advice or anything like that, it's a saying. Okay. Now, what does that have to do with romance partnerships? Listen, guys. Never build where you constantly have to convince someone else of your worth. That's a trap, right? That's a trap. That's a really big trap that gets people off the course of their purpose, just in context of familial relationships, right? Family and friends. This, like, I've got to prove to you that I can do it. And a lot of people use that as motivation to do great things. But the problem is a lot of times they're motivated to do great things, but those great things have nothing to do with their soul's purpose. Those great things are just soul ties and agreements with these others that this is something that they should even be aspiring to be. Right? So like, if I say one day, I think I want to be a nurse, and somebody says, how could you want to be a nurse and you can't stand bloody scenes and throw up makes you throw up, and you don't really even like people, so why would you want to be a nurse? And then instead of me say, you know what, yeah, you're right, then I say, well, I could be a nurse. You act like I can't handle. Now I want to talk about whether or not I can handle it. Now I got to prove to them that I can handle being a nurse. So now I got to go be a whole entire nurse just to prove to them that I can handle being a nurse. But it probably wasn't my best. It probably wasn't super connected to my purpose. So now I'm a nurse over here and I don't have time for the violin, which is what I really should have been doing. Right? So in considering a mate, do not consider building with someone who you have to constantly remind your worth to. Like, don't do that. That's a trick. That's a trap. That is a trap for you. First of all, if you find yourself doing that, that person's an idol, right? Like, I'm not saying you don't have to remind nobody who you are every now and then. Everybody needs a little reminder every now and then. Like, yo, you forgot who you was dealing with, right? But your life should not be you constantly seeking validation from someone, seeking their attention, their time. Let me tell you something. Like, one of the biggest tricks of these undermining partnerships is the ones that expect your time to just be open to their convenience, but they never have time for you. Like, it's all about their convenience. Your time is scheduled around their convenience, and their time is scheduled around their convenience. And so when they need you at an inopportune moment, you are expected to move aside whatever it is to deal with them on whatever level. Or when it's them who has some conflicting interests, you are now expected to understand that they shouldn't be expected to move these other things aside, right? That kind of, right? Don't do that. That's a demonic assignment on your life to make you feel bad about yourself so that you will then practice oppression, pollute yourself, and walk in your own works, right? Remember, it's about this feeling, not feeling highly of themselves. So these people are going to, in all these instances, these people are going to partner with you, and their goal is to make you feel less highly of yourself. That's why there's this big attack on the ego in this age, right? Everybody hates the ego. Why? Because the ego tells you you don't have to put up with the nonsense that they want you to believe you have to put up with in order to be a good, nice person. Like you can be a whole good, nice, holy, righteous, blood-bought, redeemed, born again, righteous individual and not take no bullish from nobody. But they want you to believe when you assert that kind of authority over your own right to exist unbothered, right? That's like you're an egomaniac now and a narcissist. Let me tell you something. If I were you, I would learn exactly what a narcissist is and walk the tightrope between the narcissist and the empath. Walk the tightrope between the two, okay? There are some very important qualities that narcissists have that we do not want to say nobody should have, or else you are a narcissist, okay? Their idea, though, in back to where we're at, and I don't want to get involved in the whole narcissist talk, and I do have on YouTube, on Black Enlightainment, there is a good teaching on there on empaths. Empaths are poverty pimps. That those of you who find yourself always involved with these narcissists might want to take a look at and deeply consider, okay? Because that's a whole social game too, right? But never mind that. So never build where you have to constantly remind people of your value, or where you are constantly having to prove your worth, right? See, here's what a person that thinks highly of themselves know. I don't have to prove my worth because I am that I am, right? So because I am that I am, I don't have to prove it to anyone, because I know that I'm like an excellent hairdresser. I'm an excellent natural hairstylist. I know this. Does that mean that I have to prove it by what? Someone calls me and says, I heard you were an excellent hairstylist, but I'm not so sure. I need my hair done. Does that mean I now have to prove to them that I'm an excellent hairstylist by taking that appointment? No. Wow, thanks. Appreciate the shout out. I don't know if I would be one of the best to you or not, but I'm busy. Oh, well, I heard you were supposed to be so good, so I guess I just go get it done by somebody else. Yeah, I guess you can. See ya. Good luck. I know somebody's number, right? Like I don't have to prove that. I don't have to prove it. It is what it is. I am what I am. That's somebody, you swear you're some kind of teacher. No, I don't swear I'm some kind of teacher. I don't have to swear I'm some kind of anything. There are scores of people, young and old, of all shapes, sizes, and colors, that can tell you they learned something from me. And I intentionally taught it to them. So that I don't have to then think I'm a teacher or swear I'm some kind of a teacher or prove to people that I'm a teacher. I don't have to do that. Why? Because I teach, therefore I am. I am that I am. So you know that if someone is romantically inclined toward you, but you often find yourself in situations where you're having to prove to them that you are who you say you are, they're an unbeliever. Let them go. They are on assignment to now, over a course of time, you will start to doubt that you are who you are. It's a demonic assignment against your purpose. So that now you're like, well, maybe I'm not that good of a teacher. I never did graduate college. Oh, wow, and I only ever taught in this context, and I only ever taught in that context, and I didn't teach in this context. And you're going to start that nonsense, right? So jive that. We're not doing that, right? Listen, like in general, like if you are in a circle where you cheer for this one and you cheer for that one and you cheer for the one in the middle, and then when it's your turn, you cheer for you and you the only one cheering for you, it's new circle time. Okay? It's new circle time. And that is something that a lot of people, and I'm going to say especially Black men, expect from Black women. They expect us to cheer, 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 cheer for them, 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 cheer for them. That's supposed to be their norm, is us in the background doing backflips and woohoo and pom-poms and glitter everywhere and stuff. They want that to be the norm. And that's fine. Listen, some of us don't mind. I love to cheer, cheer, cheer. Right? They want that to be the norm. But are they cheering for you? Do they pull out the trombone, and step, step, step? Do they do that for you? Right? If the relationship is you cheer, 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 and then when something comes up that's cheerworthy for you, now you're bragging or you're full of yourself or you're being prideful and all of this. Listen, new circle time. I don't care if it's your mama, your daddy. I don't care if it's your kids. I don't care if it's your husband of 37 years. Let me tell you something. It's new circle time. It's new circle time. Okay? These are demons that are attached to you to undermine you and to make you not feel highly of yourself so that you will be subject to the demonic activities of the day. Point blank. Now you have doubt where you once had faith, right? You have ambivalence where you once had courage. You have a shadow where you once had a shine. Okay? Now the trick though is you got to be careful because the next kind of partner that the demons will send, right, is the flattering one. Right? So you got to be mindful that there's two things that you should not tolerate in relationships: flattery and fault finding. Now, it's hard sometimes to tell the difference between sincere compliments and flattery and accountability and fault finding. It's not super easy to always tell where that is, right? Emotions often have more to do with how we process and consequently file those things than what is actually happening in the room at the time, right? So overall, you should not approach building partnerships from an emotional standpoint. Sentiment should not be a part of your gauge. Sentiment must not be a part of the process of partnership building. I'm sorry that sounds mean because you got homies that you want to put down and you got people that you want to carry along and bring up and all of this nonsense and you love them and this and that. Listen to me. Sentiment should not be a part of what you build partnerships on. Okay? It should not. It just should not. You must build partnerships on data. You must build partnerships on real life observable information that can be quantified. Because when you are building something, you need to know that it has the constitution to sustain itself for whatever use it is that you're building. Okay? So now, flattery and fault finding are two tactics of the enemy because what they do is they manipulate our emotional state, right? This is why emotions should not be a part of it. This is why when someone tells you how grand you are, they're great, they're in cheerleader mode, they're in cheerleader mode, they're in cheerleader mode. Don't get excited. No, okay, well, this person's in cheerleader mode, but don't go getting excited like that's your new best friend. Okay? And don't be mad every time somebody hurts your feelings and decide they're your enemy, right? But what's going to happen is a worthy partner is going to do both of those things. A worthy partner is going to sincerely compliment you when you do something outstanding or awesome, or even when you take a small baby step that, hey, one step is one step, right? You're one step closer today than you were yesterday. A strong partner is going to notice those things and encourage you, but they're also going to hold you accountable. Like when you're sitting there all depressed, talking about, I can't believe I didn't make more progress. They're going to say, well, if you shut up and get dressed and go do one thing today, take one small step today, then tomorrow you can say you made progress. So get up out the bed. Okay, yeah, you were great 3 weeks ago, but you've been sitting on your behind since then. So get up out the bed and actually do something toward your goal, right? Because like you're lazy and you need to brush your teeth and stuff. Like they're gonna do both of those things. So if you find that someone is really bent toward one or the other, whether they're always fault finding, right? Or whether they're always flattering, even when you tell them, you say, well, it wasn't the best choice. Oh, you did the best that you could. They won't even accept your own level of accountability. They'll undermine your own personal accountability mechanisms, right? Or when you're like, I need to get my lazy behind up off this bed. I've been sitting here for 3 weeks. I ain't done nothing since I won that last victory. I done got lazy, right? They're going to be like, yeah, come on, you right. You sure you right. Right? That's what a good partner is going to do. These other cats, though, are going to be like, oh, no, it was you trained hard for hey, Brother Palacio. Mwah. So, like, they're gonna give you all the excuses you need not to thrive, right? And this Brother Palacio entering the room just as I'm saying that, and a good example of that is how Westerners or foreigners help countries like Belize. They always help just enough that you can't ever survive. You're not surviving with them, but you're supposed to appreciate the help so much, even though the help only makes your condition worse. But because they're there to help, you're supposed to just keep being nice. Like, these are partnerships that are directly assigned to undermine purpose, right? So we have to be mindful, right? So some will attach themselves, and what they'll do is they're gonna offer to put themselves in a critical position to help you, right? And then they're not gonna follow through, right? These are dangerous partnerships because they're going to do everything that they can to make sure that you really depend on them, to make sure that you feel like that's your right hand. And then at that critical moment, they're going to drop out and leave you stuck. Think they leave you stuck. All statistics matter, Soul Maiden says in YouTube. Listen, Queen, stats matter. Stats matter, right? You building partnerships. Listen, I don't care how, save me the violin song and the harps and the throwing of the flowers. Save that. Keep all that to yourself, right? I want to see some stats. I want to see some data, right? So yeah, they're going to attach themselves to you and they're going to not quite help, right? Now, we have to be careful because sometimes people will attach themselves to you with the hope and desire to help, but they are not necessarily competent in the area that you need the help. That may or may not be a demonic attack. Sometimes that is just a matter of a person who needs proper grooming in a particular area, right? It's different than the person who they don't and never care. They're there for our resources and themselves. Exactly, Brother Palacio. Exactly. They are there for resources and themselves. And these people that partner with you are here to undermine your assignment, ladies and gentlemen, is just like how these vultures are with nations like Belize. They are there because they see you as a resource. And if they can convince you that they're helping you, then you will give them all of your resources that otherwise they would have to earn or pay for. But because they spin this narrative that they're helping you, now you unload everything. You give them total license in your life. And it's unhelpful. They will set up everything to be unhelpful to you. Right? So you can tell if a person is putting in a poor effort, if they put themselves in a position in your life and then put forth a poor effort, right? Like the person who says they'll take you to work every day. They're so proud of you. You got a new job. They'll take you to work every day, but they make you late every day. But you're supposed to be grateful for the ride, so you can't complain about them making you late. But they're actually making it stressful for you because every single day you get to work and they got to hear you say, I know my cousin is my ride and blah, blah, blah. Right? That kind of, right? Now, it may be someone that loves you so much and they really are proud of you for having that job. But if that is their interaction with you, you know that this person, even though they may personally love you, is on a demonic assignment to undermine your success, point blank. Point blank, right? We cannot think that demons use everybody except the people near us, okay? So a lot of times these people get in good, right? And they might actually be very helpful in the capacity in which you place them, because sometimes what they must do is they have to secure their position. So sometimes they'll be very, very helpful in the capacity in which you place them, but what they do is they go behind your back and they sabotage you, right? They sabotage you in small, subtle ways. The types of stories that they tell people about you from their privileged insider's position, for instance, right? Yeah, they do this. Replacement thing where, like, you look up and before you know it, like, all of your contacts are now their contacts, and now you can't contact them. You can't get in touch with anybody, but they're like, oh, I just had lunch with them, and like that kind of thing, right? That kind of stuff are clues to undermining spirits being at work, right? Because in a healthy context, I meet you, you meet me. I've got some contacts that are going to help you. You got some contacts that are going to help me. We're all going to share those contacts. And now what's happened is we broaden the circle. So now we are one bigger group of contacts. But if what happens, if when you share your contacts, that breaks off and goes and develops its own thing, and now you're locked out of whatever that thing is over there, right? And then a lot of them will still expect that they will still have access to you even after they lock you out of this thing that they've taken from your resources and created some other thing. They'll still expect interaction because what they're doing, remember, they're harvesting your energy. So any way that they can have your energy focused on anything except your purpose, right? So now you're not over there living your purpose. Now you're trying to figure out why you're locked out of this thing. You're trying to figure out what happened. You're trying to figure out what they're doing. Did I do something to them? You're going through all this kind of drama, right? That only happens when there's sabotagers in the room. When there people are not sabotagers and you exchange contacts and information and things like that, then everyone gets bigger. You tried to network and got caught in the net. Soulmate, and listen, it happens all the time, right? But I'm going to tell you, we're going to keep with this word. We remember that a lot, like, this is because people don't think highly of themselves. You must think more highly of yourself so you don't fall into this kind of nonsense. Because frankly, listen, if I give 5 people connect each other to each other, and I'm the only thing they have in common, and it turns out to be great, the connection that they made through me, and then they go and they build it, and I ain't no good or nothing no more. I mean, what's the harm to me? At the end of the day, what did I lose, right? I didn't lose anything. All I left was 5 people who needed help. So, okay, so I helped them. Now they go off and listen, I don't care, right? Only way I care about why and what they're doing without me and all that is if I feel low about myself. But I don't feel low about myself. I feel great about myself. And so I don't, you can't you can't fade me like that. I don't care that much, you know? So because I already know who I am, and whether people treat me like who I am or not doesn't mean I'm not who I am, you know? So another undermining partnership that people will try to engage you, this is for a top dog in a field that you're entering into or aspiring to get into. And you have a person who, or maybe it's not even a related field, but they see this potential in you and they want to take you under their wing and they want to mentor you, right? Be really, really careful of that taking under the wing spirit, because that is a spirit that is always going to call later for an allegiance. It's always going to later call for you to prove your allegiance to it. And it is going to be at a critical time when proving your allegiance to that relationship is going to make you disallegiance to yourself, make you disloyal to yourself. Or, oh, shoot, sorry, Facebook. Sorry about that. It's going to make you disloyal to yourself, or it's going to make you have to cross someone that you don't want to cross, right? So these people that want to take you under their wing, they're going to be a person who does see your potential. And they see it as a threat to their current position, whether it's a social position, whether it's a business, position or something like that. They're going to see you as a threat. And so what they do is, or they see you as a threat. And so what they're going to do is they're going to make sure that you would feel bad or disloyal or something like that if you ever exceeded them, right? And I remember a couple of years ago, there was this thing going around Facebook for a while. Everybody was talking about like the student can never be greater than the master, right? And that's the biggest crock of crap that I ever heard in my life. Like, I would hope that every student I've ever taught anything would be greater than me, because then how else are we progressing each age if nobody can be greater than the last one? The whole idea is that the master learns what the master learns in their lifetime and passes it on to you within a shorter amount of time. But in your entire lifetime, you're going to take that experience and another lifetime of experience, so that when you pass on to the next generation, it's going to be at least twice as good as what the master passed on to you, right? But there's this concept that the student could never be greater than the master. It's a jealous, undermining concept, right? If you're a great master, the greatest thing that you could ever do is train you superior, right? Is train a cat that comes back later and blows your mind. Like, that's like the joy of a great master, is that your students would all greatly surpass you, right? So when you have these top dogs that only want to make sure that you don't go any further or higher than them, you run into a little trouble. That's really what undermined our family legacy, right? Was that kind of energy where when we young people were ready to take it to the next level, my dad and his buddies, they weren't ready for that because they knew we was about to take it to the next level, right? So then what will they do? They will put people less qualified than yourself in key positions. And they'll say things like, I'm grooming you for something else, or you're not ready. And so why? Why would they do that? Because they need you to not think highly of yourself. Remember, keep that scripture in mind with all of these. What are the tactics that the enemy uses with people who are close to us to make us lower our self-opinion, right? Because I don't know who these other people follow out here, but I happen to know that I'm a God. I know it. So I don't have these, you know, I don't have this desperation that some have, because what do I need? I have everything. I am everything. So what do I need from the world? Like, you know, it's hard to, I'm a hard sell for a lot of this stuff, right? But I've noticed it over years. And the funny thing is, I watched these tactics, fully aware of the tactics for many, many years, and still befriended people because I was of the belief that I had to be their friend. It made me a good person. But I don't need to be a good person. I just need to be a whole person, which I am. And so how good or bad I am depends on who's the judge. And I'm only answering to righteous judges, and righteous judges tend to find me usually pretty righteous, more or less. Uh, I'm not the best listener sometimes, uh, when like to the kids and stuff like that. So that's not super great. But overall, you know, you can't get me with the okey doke. So I'm trying to share this stuff with you guys because I try to use my actual real life to bless y'all, right? So yeah, so what the top dog in demonic infiltrator is going to do, right? They're going to parole you around as their protege. You're going to be the best thing ever, and it's going to be sincere. Now the thing about this one is it's not insincere. This isn't the over flattery. This is sincere. This is a person who really truly does see your potential, and when they speak on it, they speak truly on it, right? But they're going to parade you around as their sidekick. And what that's going to do is they're going to say that they're doing it to put you, because you need the connections and blah, 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 right? They're going to put you with great people because of their great potential. They're going to say this. But what's going to happen is when you get in the presence of those great ones that they're going to expose you to, they will forbid you to shine. They will insist you take a subservient, silent role, like carry their bag and get them water. And they're going to give you the no face when you want to speak up, right? Things like that. So that people, these great people in their circle, come to view you as, how can I say? They don't embrace you as their intellectual peer, if you will, right? This person who's taking you under their wings will always keep you silent so that the people in the room don't know who they're in the room with. The person that you're with is the only one that's ever really going to know who you're in the room with. These people are going to have to take the person you're with word about you, right? But they're not going to allow them to experience your full shine. They're going to shut that down. They're going to shut it down, and there's a lot of ways that they shut it down, right? One thing is by that. They'll give you tasks during important sessions whereby you're out of the room or you're in and out of the room so that you can't really engage conversations, right? They'll tell you, like, there's political reasons why you shouldn't speak up. I know that when this comes up, I know you feel strongly about it, but just don't say anything, because they're going to have a because for you not to say anything about that thing that you're passionate about, right? Things like that. They're going to have you, but they're definitely going to have you serving them around these people, right? They're going to have you, like, grab their bag and things like this, right? That's going to be a very key part of it, which, we great ones know we're only great because we serve, so we don't mind that. But these are clues for you, right, to know if this is a divine appointment or a demonic assignment, right? Let me see. Oh, okay. So the best way to avoid that type of dysfunctional thing is just don't be starstruck. Like, just treat whoever they are. It doesn't matter who they are, what their position, title, income, net worth, none of that. Just don't be starstruck. Treat all people the same. Like, not treat all people the same, but treat all people the same. Don't be starstruck. right? And so that'll help you to keep that a little bit in check, right? Because like when they say like, well, I really need you not to, uh, whatever, right? Speak on that issue that you really care about now that you're finally in the room with the person who can make a change. When you are in that instance and they like want to shut you down, right? Like you don't have to, you don't have to listen to them. You can differentiate from them. You can like, well, listen, so and so said don't bring it up, but me being who I am, this is what I'm passionate about. And since I'm in the room with the people who can make change, have you guys thought of this? Right? And be ready to risk betraying that person. But the fact is, if it's a great person that means good for you, they're not going to see that as a betrayal. They're going to see that as you operating in your gifting and moving in your purpose, right? And so if they take it personally that you did that, that's because now they want you to engage feeling bad about yourself for walking in your purpose. Remember, this is all about getting you to feel bad about yourself. So, and now there's another class of partnerships that will come to you when you're like a purposed person. And boy, we're already over an hour, but sorry. And what they are is wards, right? These are people who, okay, there's two classes of wards. There's a classic ward, which I'm going to call a ward, and then there's a ne'er-do-well who will mostly feel like a ward, but there's some distinctions between what would make that a healthy relationship and what would make it demonic. Okay, so we're calling a ward the healthy version. Now, in a healthy relationship with a ward, this is a partnership. This is an agreement that you have because you know that your presence in this person's life is game changing, right? So your presence in this person's life is game changing to their benefit. And so what you're going to do is structure into your sowing into them some sort of system or scheme, right? And by scheme, I don't mean scam, but scheme as in like an orchestrated plan, right? You're going to structure into it a way two things are going to happen. One way that they can elevate their status, whatever that status is that's causing them to be in such need of you, right? You're going to build into the relationship a way that they can eliminate that problem, right? So that after their time as your ward, they will not need to be anyone else's ward. They will have solved that problem, that whatever that critical thing was that was lacking that you provided, right? Which is why they are your ward, because you are providing for them a life-changing benefit, right? And so the idea is that in their time as you support them, that they will eliminate the problem that put them in the position to be your ward, whatever that problem is, okay? Now, the difference between a ne'er-do-well and that person is a ne'er-do-well just constantly comes for help in game-changing situations, right? In critical situations, but there's no structure of accountability whereby the benefits go along with behaviors or steps being taken to eliminate the problem in the future. So it's the ne'er-do-wells that you want to avoid having as wards, right? You cannot do that because I'm going to tell you, they always have a sob story. They always have an emergency, okay? And they never have to take advice from anyone. And everyone is bad guys if they don't help them because it's always such an emergency. But they do not take sound advice. They always assert their right to be an individual and their right to make their own choices. They're very grown. They're very all of these things, right? And so, what they are there to do is simply to add chaos to your life at intervals and to siphon you of resources and to make sure that those resources do not multiply. Like, we are commanded to be fruitful and multiply. And so, what we touch, whenever we touch something, when we take our hand away, it should be more than what it was when we put our hand there, right? Whatever we touch should multiply. And so when you give to a ne'er do well, you don't multiply your seed, right? What you're doing is you're throwing it to the, you're not even throwing it to the wind. You're grinding it up so it can't even by accident be planted, right? So unless it gets blown out of their hands, which sometimes does happen before they get to pulverize it, but neither here nor there. So with a ward, here is how you are going to know if this person who has a critical need that you can fill is a demonic assignment or just a person with a critical need that you can fill and you can build some kind of partnership with. A person who is an eligible person to build a partnership with will not mind and will be grateful for the assistance in strategy building to avoid them being in the same position down the road. This is not going to be an offense to them. They will be willing to enter into contracts whereby the one thing, that was the one thing, right, is that they are not in that position later, but also is usually built into it some way that they can return your investment to you. That's like really also a part of it, right? So like if you send someone off to college to be a doctor, then then you expect not to have to pay them when you come to visits, no matter how expensive they get, right? Like these kinds of real life practical ways, when you invest, you get return on your investment and you have expectations along the way to make sure that the more you invest, it's actually bearing fruit, right? So if you've got wards, if you've got people that you take care of a lot, then you should look at this, right? And you should say, do I have built into this system where I take care of this person? Have we built a system where they can avoid needing people to take care of them in the future? And have we built into that some way that they can reciprocate? Or even now is a good time to build the reciprocity. I don't like people to owe people anything. So I prefer, like, if you're going to do something, let it be something they can do now while you're blessing them, so that when they make their break, nobody owes anybody anything. Even if it's as simple as wash the dishes or walk the dog, find some way that they can contribute to, not something useless that nobody needs. Have them pick up some critical function in your life, right? And it can be small or great, but it's really important to build into the relationship a reciprocity, right? There must be some sort of give and take if that relationship is to continue. Now, of course, there are some relationships where you're giving and then your source is coming from elsewhere for you to continue to give, right? But those are not lasting relationships. Those are circumstantial instances. If you're talking about lasting relationships, the thing that keeps the relationship going and smooth and healthy is the give and take, the swinging back and forth of the pendulum between who's serving who, right? So, yeah, the ne'er-do-wells never want to hear about what other people have done for them. And that's the difference between a ne'er-do-well and a valid ward, because a ward is going to often mention what other people have done for them because they're very grateful, right? We're very grateful. People have taken care of me over the years, and I'm very grateful to say that I ain't do none of this ish by myself, okay? None, nada, nothing, nothing, nothing. And so people that can't hear that, are problematic. There's something going on there that's not, it shows that they don't feel good about themselves. It shows that they're ashamed of needing the help in some way, right? And remember that the ones who are doing all this wickedness and that are driving peaceful people to passionate murder are these ones that don't feel bad about them. I mean, that don't feel good about themselves. And so they don't feel good about themselves, and so they participate in um, behaviors that will have you not feeling good about yourself if you stick around them, right? So in closing, I just want to say that we are definitely past the saving other people point. Okay, where there is no, it's not there anymore. People know good and well, so that we're not waking them up. You're not enlightening them. You're not doing anything. Like it's not happening anymore. They know what they're doing. They've made their choice, and now you must make yours. Right? You must make yours. And the fact is, they are trying to get you. They're trying to get turn your peacefulness into passion and turn your passion into rage so that you will be involved in bloody murders with them. That's literally what the word says, right? People just fighting and fighting and fighting. And it's one thing if you're a warrior and we got to fight, we got to fight. You know what I'm saying? There's a time and a place for bloodshed, and it is here and now, but it ain't like that, right? It's not like that. It's not a passionate fit of rage. That's not warfare. That's murder. And they want to turn us into murderers so that we don't have time to plan for war. Right? So, the last one, there's a last one, I'm sorry, and that's the bestie, right? The bestie is the one who is the frenemy, that one that is in your life so much. You spend more time with this person than a whole lot of other people, but they're jealous, they're envious of you. And you all know who they are, right? Um, because they have to say the things that they're jealous of all the time. So all you have to do, if you're looking at your group of friends and you're really trying to figure out who are the demonic infiltrators, just listen to them. Listen to the things that they say, point blank. And they, whether it's smiling or crying when they say them, you listen to the things that they say. Okay, and then adjust your life accordingly, right? Yeah, like they can't hide their envy. They can't hide it anymore. It's just they're beside themselves, and so just get away from them, okay? Because they're really dangerous. They're really dangerous. um they feed self-doubt. They bring drama all the time, right? and and the other thing that they do is, like I was talking about earlier, they like to insert themselves into your position. So whatever it is that you've got, best believe next they got to prove that they got it, can get it, or something like that. um they all work the same. They all work the same angle, though, guys, which is to get you to feel bad about yourself and have you spending your time trying to work out a relationship with them, trying to figure out a way to make it fair, trying to figure out a way to make it work, trying to figure out a way to help them. And they've become your idol, and you're skipping out on your purpose. So I hope that this blessed somebody. I know it wasn't like super fun, but this is warfare, and we can't be playing games, right? We can't be playing games. You keep your standard right where you want to keep it. Keep it nice and high, because trust and believe. Some folks ain't even gonna have to jump to get up to it. Some folks that's just gonna be where they exist, right? Like, you keep the standard high. No more demons. No more demon partnerships, right? So thank you for watching. Sorry this one was so long, but sometimes it's like that. I love y'all. If you're watching on Facebook, do check out the YouTube channel Black Enlightenment. And if you are on Black Enlightenment, why don't you guys go check out the playlist entitled The Culture? And those are original songs by me. And tell me what you think. Listen, your thumbs up or your thumbs down, I'll take it all. It's okay. I don't mind honesty. But at least give them a listen. All right. So with that, I'm out of here. I reckon I'll see you guys later on tonight. I guess we'll be reading from the scriptures. I don't know where we'll be reading from tonight, though. Um, who knows? There's so much to choose from. I mean, look at the size of this. Look at the size of this thing. Who got theirs? Who's came in the mail yet? You guys are supposed to be getting them. I hope somebody else got them so you can read them. Anyway, I'm out. It's your girl Jedi, Empress Jedi, the Rabble Rouser, coming at you from Black Enlightenment, where we are broadcasting consciousness live from the She Nation Temple on the Hill. Peace.